Live from New York, it's
Turkeytronics.
A thankful engineer.
Oh, it's funny. It's always funny when you have robots and cats mixed
together. That was
together.
an old project from not too long ago. I used our stuff and it was cats and turkeys, so
Cats and turkeys.
I thought it was fitting to play it.
Yeah, our cat loved turkey. Welcome to Ask Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada, on this Thanksgiving Eve. Everyone's brining their turkeys or getting ready for a long weekend, or maybe they got to go to work. But why don't you take an hour and hang out with us for a little bit while we go over the latest in the maker and hacker space, all the news that's fit to hack on. Broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan. With me is Mr. Lady Ada. We've updated the graphics for the Cyber Turkey.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And why don't we just hop right into it? What's the latest goblin to gobble?
On tonight's show, it's our special Safe Thanksgiving edition. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We'll be talking about some news in the country, news in the maker world, some public service announcements, and more. We are open. We are safe. We are shipping. All of our team thanks you so much. These are pre-COVID photos here at Adafruit. Thank you so much for supporting us all this year, so we've been able to get all the electronics you need. Our team is safe, all PPD up, and we've been operating all the way from the beginning. Talk about that in a bit. Show and tell, people around the world sharing their projects. Lady Ada will talk about who is on the show and tell and what project they shared. JP's workshop, we have a Make Code Minute and a little bit of a preview of the video that we just released, which is JP's product pick of the week. We'll show a little tidbit from that. Time travel around the world, makers, hackers, artists, engineers. We have some jobs from the Adafruit jobs board. You can post your skills up, or if you're an employer looking for a maker to do something, jobs.adafruit.com. Some Python on hardware news. We have some Made in New York City factory footage. We have some sped up 3D printing videos. We also have a very cool video from Don Pedro with the mag tag. We have DigiKey and Adafruit Presents. On NPI this week is Little Fuse.
We got a RTD. Platinum sensor. It's the platinum standard for temperature sensors from Little Fuse.
Have some new products. We'll answer your questions. We do that over on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord.
Go there now. It's free.
Yeah. Join all about 25,000 of us and more. All that tonight on Ask an Engineer.
Yes. We're doing it.
All right. So first up, let's go over to tonight's show is all about saying thanks.
Cyber thanks.
So want to say thank you to everybody who support Adafruit, open source, woman-owned company, manufacturing company in New York.
Dude, we worked so hard this year.
This year was really hard. But I wanted to read an email that I sent to our team because we're here only because of the team that is Adafruit.
Yeah, if people didn't like Adafruit Electronics, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
We would just leave.
So I sent another team. We ran payroll early because it's the bank holiday. So thank you, our employee resource team who did that. Yeah. And although it's been a tough year for everyone, and we've all had sacrifices, and there's been loss in all of our lives, we had a lot to be thankful for. So I just put the list of things because I think sometimes when you say thanks, you should just do like, what's the first thing that comes to your head? So I just rattled this off and just send it out to everybody. So we're really thankful for the team at Adafruit who raced towards the problem. When the city said we need PPE, our team came together and they made face shields for doctors, still using them. And then they said, well, can you make electronics for all sorts of things, from fast-track ventilator approval to the sensors that are on, all sorts of life-saving equipment, all sorts of stuff. They needed things really fast. And we're so thankful that our team was able to help and maybe help others. So that was one of the first things I wanted to say thanks for. Thankful to the team that gets all the essential things in, stored, made, and shipped to all the students that are remote. We are a lifeline for learning for a lot of people. So thank you so much, and thank you to all the educators out there that they've been doing everything to keep kids going and motivated. And there's more ahead because a lot of schools, including New York, just went remote. Thanks to the team that keeps our store serving up our customers and community, our learning system, which has become an important educational resource, our IT team that keeps all the computers going. Thanks for all of our customers, our community, publishing all the time, getting the good work and word out. Thanks for the code, the guides, the videos, and all the creativity that we make and inspire that even in these tough times. Thanks for the team that keeps our data safe, our site secure, and our legal things being ethical and smart. Thanks for the team that keeps us financially going. Every dollar is hard-earned and well spent. Thanks that we have a facility that's kept us safe. We put in a ton of protocols, and we're really proud that people are not getting sick. We're not done. We will continue to keep up and be ahead. We publish those on adafruit.com/opensafely. Use them if you're a company. Thanks for the team that keeps our benefits going, payroll, and all these things. We made a decision a long time ago to have one amazing healthcare plan for everybody. LADYADA has the same healthcare plan as someone who just started at the company. We wanted one, not all the different ones, high deductibles. And, you know, sometimes people really need healthcare, and I think this year was one of those years. So we're thankful for the team who helps keep all that going. Thankful for all of our partners, all their locations, all of our resellers. On our show and tell, Kevin was by from DigiKey. Big shout out to DigiKey, who helped us a lot, and they're not only good friends, but they're really good partners. So support them too. Next up, thankful we're a good cause and good business. We still have values that we care about and care about together. Thankful that we work on new things, valuable experiences for people for all walks of life. Thankful for the people who came before us, plagues, wars, civil rights. There's a lot of sacrifice that happened before us. We're getting asked to just maybe stay home. I think we can do it. Thankful for the healthcare workers. I know I mentioned the face shields that we did, but they're still there. They're still doing their job every day. And they have a lot ahead. And it looks like there's going to be a lot more because a lot of people are traveling, which they wouldn't, but they're going to. And our hospitals are going to be burdened. The healthcare workers are still working and still helping. So thank you to all of them. Thanks for all the science and scientists that somehow, some way managed to get multiple vaccines in a record time. We'll see how they work out. But just the fact that they exist and they're going to get approved and there might be a way through this, that's amazing. Very thankful for that this year. And, you know, the thing that you can do right now is think about someone who cared about you. Thank them. Time is precious. Someone took the time to care about you in your life. Now it's time for you to say, hey, thanks. Even if you can't be with them physically, maybe you're just doing it virtual this year, use that technology like this, live video, into all of our homes and wherever we're at, even our magic space phones. That's one of the things, too, that we're really thankful for. There's a path. We're all on it. We're almost through it. So thank you, everybody, all of our customers, all our community. It's so appreciated, and that is our Thanksgiving message from all of us, including the cyber turkey. All right, so public service announcement. This is another thing that we sent to our entire team. This is what it's like in New York right now. So we lived through the worst, the first, and New York is saying, stay home, stay safe, do not travel this holiday season. See all these things, don't use them for a little bit more. There is no place in the country that is trending better right now. Maybe Hawaii is in the caution zone. Everything is red. This COVID thing made us all the same, and which is we really shouldn't be seeing each other just for a little while.
It's like when the graph is all the same color, I don't even know if it makes sense to have a graph anymore.
It doesn't. So please, if you have plans, tell them, send them this little part of the video.
So these goth freaks from New York said, don't do something.
The numbers are the numbers. So yesterday, record hospitalizations. We're not even into the aftermath of all the travel. Today, over 2,000 people died. We're not even into the 22 days later from whatever the case count is. So whatever the case count is today, look at 22 days later, and if you multiply the case count by about 1.8, you could see about how many people are going to die. So imagine today you get a test and it says you're COVID positive. You have a chance of not making it. That is how this works. Maybe you'll be okay, but maybe not. Or maybe the worst thing is someone you care about isn't going to be okay. Looks like December 17th-ish, it's going to be 3,000 people a day. And I hope we don't get numb to this because it's 2,000 a day. What does that mean anymore?
Yeah.
It's 2,000 people.
It's a huge number.
So that would be the worst tragedy ever in U.S. history if it was just one day. Well, this is happening every single day. So please, 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 it's not too late to cancel plans. All tickets are refundable. We're using our little platform right now just to beg you. We want to see all of you at like a Maker Faire or in New York City. Everyone visits New York City. Well, if you don't make it to spring or next year, you're not going to be able to visit. So just think about it and look at the numbers and make some smart decisions. Okay, let's go to show and tell.
Okay.
Oh no, actually, let's not go to show and tell.
Okay.
Let's talk about since I have the Ship and Smart and Save thing.
Yeah.
I should say we have a bunch of deals going on,
We do.
and we have some sales. So we should talk about that. Then we should do show and tell.
Okay. For $100 or more, you get a free Permaproto half-size breadboard with each order. $149 or more, you'll get a free STEM QT board. We have a wide selection. You'll get a different one each time if you make an account. If you make an account, you can also get 20% off by securing your account, so it's a good idea. We've got the Cutie Pies in the freebie batch, too, so you might get one of those. Also, a bunch of different awesome STEM QT sensors. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. And $299 or more, you will give away a free Circuit Playground Express. All-in-one dev board for learning Circuit Python, Arduino, MakeCode, Code.org, CS Discoveries, Rust, and more.
And right now, if you just do one simple thing, secure your account, you get 20% off. Now, we're going to end the sale probably on Friday, so you should do this now. All you have to do is verify your email and set up two-factor authentication. In your account, you'll see this cute little cloud.
Ding, ding.
And you get 20% off. We're doing this as a limited time experiment. A lot of people secured their accounts. It worked out. Even, cranky security people who are normally kind of mean.
And I know a lot of cranky
They like
people.
this.
They like this
They like
idea.
this. So we're really excited that we were able to do something valuable and give you 20% off. So if you haven't, load up your cart right now and do it. Or you can wait till Friday. And Friday we'll have all sorts of deals and more.
Can you see into the future?
I can.
And?
There's good fortune ahead. And there will be some deals. The 20% thing off is probably going to be our biggest one. But there will be some things. And we have all sorts of mysterious things ahead. What
What do the cards say?
Be in the future? We can't tell you yet.
But there's some cool rocks.
So, also on Friday and then throughout the weekend and then Monday, we're going to have a bunch of posts from our team for Black-owned businesses. That's on Friday, and they'll be tagged by Black Friday, Black-owned Friday. And then on Friday, we'll also have Pound ADA deals. And every single year, I email every maker company. I'm like, hey, you got sales?
Did somebody get back to you?
Some did.
Great.
And, throughout the year, companies kind of compete, and, some of them don't get along. But I think what I do is I try at least one time during the year to bring us all together on one big email. And I'm just like, hey, if you got any sales, just send them to me, and we're going to post them on Adafruit site because we're crazy.
Crazy.
Why would we post everyone else's sales? Because that's what we do. And so we'll tag those ADA deals. And then on Tuesday, we're doing Giving Tuesday, and that's Pound Giving Tuesday. And that's just a bunch of nonprofits, stuff like OSHWA, things like OSI, or organizations that we support like Black Girls Code, or there's magazines like S'more or Reinvented, magazines for girls in STEM. So anyways, we'll have all of those. So that's some stuff you can look forward to, and you can look for them on the blog and on social media, and those are the hashtags. And if you have ones of your own, you can use the hashtag and get the word out as well. All right, LADYADA, show and tell. We do show and tell every single week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's right.
Who's on the show and tell? What they share?
We had a bunch of people come by. Kevin came by from DigiKey to give everybody the heads up that they're going to do DigiWish this year. Again, that means in December. I think every day they pick one person who uses the DigiWish hashtag on social media, and they'll give them a free item from the DigiKey store up to $100 in value. It's a great way to get that thing from DigiKey that you've always wanted shipped to you for free. So keep an eye out starting in December. Follow DigiKey on Twitter. They have a nice social media. It doesn't spam you or anything, but then you'll know for sure when DigiWish is happening. Trevor made Adafruit. Trevor is an Adafruit iOS developer, and he worked on an AR tarot card reader that'll work with the tarot cards displayed on the MagTag displays. That's kind of a fun project. Minerva comes by and reads your tarot card. Brent has been working on adding MQTT support in CircuitPython to the ESP32S2. We did a huge refactor of our wireless support in CircuitPython, which is awesome. Things got sped up greatly. Things take less memory. We reuse sockets. It's awesome. But a lot of our existing code needed to be kind of scrubbed through and make sure that it's taking advantage of the new library, and it is. So if you have an ESP32S2 with CircuitPython, you can now use MQTT for ultra-fast internet data transfer. Erin wrote up a new guide. It's a matrix portal tip jar. So she used to do a lot of events at night, and she would pass around a tip jar, but she wanted one that was lit up and had little animations when people put money in the jar, kind of incentivize them to give some tips. Noe and Pedro worked on a woodworking sign. They made a modular sign for outdoors with NeoPixel strips that can display animations and text. They'll do a write-up for that later. Melissa has been porting ESP Tool, which is a tool used to upload code to ESP32s and S2s and 8266s. This is a Python tool, and it works wonderfully, except once in a while, people just can't really install it or run it for some reason. So we wanted to have a way to use it over the Chrome browser. So using Web Serial, we'll be able to program in an ESP32S2, for example, to put a bootloader on it, and then you don't have to use ESP Tool anymore. This is one of the things that we're trying to make it easier for people to use CircuitPython because we want to put the bootloader on it, but the bootloader can easily be deleted because there's no protection for it.
Good example of, and maybe one of the first examples of using Glitch to program hardware.
Yeah.
So that is a really cool thing.
Glitch is great for this because it allows quick iteration and we don't have to, it's like, to be honest.
It's like the CircuitPython of web development.
To be honest, if, we don't want to host random JavaScript apps. If we can have them hosted elsewhere, that'll really make our lives easier. And Glitch makes it very easy to do so. People, it's just for small grinding apps where you just go somewhere, you run something and it lasts for a few minutes. It's perfect. And it just means our ops team is much happier because they're like, they don't want to have to deal with random JavaScript web pages. Go to Glitch. We like Glitch. They're a New York company as well. Anne moved to Cape Canaveral, Florida area and is making a mag tag that'll tell her when SpaceX is going to launch next. So she can go outside and check them out. The launches looks like almost every week or at least every month. But you want to be outside when it happens so you can check it out. This way her refrigerator will let her know when the next rocket launch is coming. Likewise, Phil B, instead of catching a trip on a rocket, wants to catch a trip on a bus. He made a mag tag display for Next Bus, which is a service that a lot of metro areas used to help keep track of when the next bus is coming. So it'll tell you have 20 minutes to get outside to catch your bus. Or if you just missed it and it's not coming for another 55 minutes, I know that there's some routes, especially late at night, that they only come once an hour. You won't have to wait outside in the cold, which I have done for sure. Hopefully that's a thing of the past. Also showed off a really cool IBM Butterfly keyboard, which was amazing. I remember everyone saw it, but nobody owned one with it. It was so cyber. It was like the cyber turkey.
Yeah.
CNS are two mini makers, and they've been making projects with their Circuit Playground Express. Mario Maker came by. He made a Matrix Portal stock ticker. He said it was so easy. It only took him a couple hours to get the Matrix Portal to download stock data from online and display it scrolling on the Matrix Portal.
Said no one ever doing these types of projects. That's why we're really happy about this. Sometimes we get some feedback that we're making electronics too easy. So be it.
What's the difference between good documentation and too easy?
Good documentation and too easy.
There's no difference. Good documentation makes it too easy.
Yeah. And I would say if you think about the user intuitively, the idea that your electronics shows up as a USB drive and you edit the Python file right there.
Yeah.
It's so obvious now.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then Mark came by and he's making a wake-up box because it's dark where he's at, and he wants something to light up the room nicely when it's time to wake up to get him ready for the day.
All right. Show and Tell is part of our Adafruit Live series of shows. Every single Wednesday, 8 p.m., Ask an Engineer. That's what you're watching now. Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., Show and Tell. That's what we were just talking about. These two combined are our shows on Wednesday. On Sunday, we do Desk of LADYADA.
It's true.
This week on Desk of LADYADA, we talked about this really cool fan turner honor.
Yeah, this is really neat. So this is a chip that is an I2C fan controller. It does the tachometer reading and the fan PWM control all over I2C. It's meant for little computers or devices to control a fan when you don't want to give up a a PWM output, or you don't have a PWM output, and you also want to have a tachometer input to tell you that the fan's running. That's really important for thermal management to know that your fan's doing the thing. Also has a couple temperature sensors built in. So we have a breakout for it. Brian designed it and wrote some code for it. And we're just wrapping it up, and we're going to get it made for the shop.
And we also have the Great Search.
Where in the world is that part I need? The Great Search with DigiKey.
On the Great Search this week, LadyAda looked up
Piezos and buzzers. So you're probably wondering, how do I make my project or product beep? You want it to make some beeps and boops. Well, there's a couple different ways of doing it, and we go through the 3 or 4 different common types, how to find them on DigiKey, the different categories, things to look for, and how to use the search to help narrow down the one you want. Because magnetic buzzers and piezo buzzers look really similar. Sometimes they're even in the same package, but they act and are driven totally differently. So you definitely want to make sure you don't get the wrong one. They both have pros and cons. We go over that as well.
And that's every Sunday, so you can watch that on YouTube right now. On Tuesdays, JP does a product pick of the week, and we have a little snippet from it. Now, the cool thing about this is every Tuesday when JP does this, we broadcast live from the product page, and there's an enormous discount.
Half off.
During that show. So all you have to do is set your clock, set your watch, set your phone, whatever it is, watch live, hang out in the chats or whatever, and you can order it right there. And it's half off. So here's a little tidbit of this week's JP's product pick.
ST25DV16. It's an NFC or RFID tag. We can write to it with a microcontroller. Here I have a little cutie pie. That's what my NFC tag is plugged into. If you look inside the box there, that's what it's plugged into over Stemma QT. Press my NFC tag reader icon, hold that up, and it says open in YouTube. When I press that, you'll see my little NeoPixel changed colors. It's green. Hold that to the tag. It says open Adafruit in Safari. That is my product pick of the week. ST25DV16 programmable NFC RFID. I'm going to go ahead and set that on my pegboard of Stemma QT awesomeness, and that's going to do it.
And John Park's workshop returns next week, but every single week we do a Make Code Minute that will be resuming next week. Here is the latest, however, Make Code Minute.
On the Make Code Minute, what I wanted to show is how you can use the run in parallel blocks in order to have multiple events that include timing, sensitive timing with pauses, to run at the same time without conflicting with each other. This is something I run into a lot in sort of all microcontroller programming, is I want a couple things to happen at the same time. I don't want one to wait for the other. This is a really elegant way to do it. So first of all, you'll notice I have this control section in the advanced section, and in here lives this run in parallel block. So that's what I'm using. That's the secret sauce here. Then I have it set up so that when I press button A, it's going to run both of these blocks at the same time. So the play melody, which is going to just boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and it's going to require particular timing to play those notes at tempo, as well as running a little NeoPixel animation, which again has sensitive timing. So check it out. You can see it happening here. So that works really well. What I wanted to do though with the B button here is demonstrate a slightly more challenging example. And in this one, what I'm going to do is same sort of thing. I'm going to run a descending melody. I'm going to run a different animation. But then you'll see I've got this pause block. So what's going to happen is when I press the button, it's going to start counting that pause, 1 second pause. But it's not going to wait on that pause to do the things that are in the run parallel block. So the melody will play, the animation will play, all the while there's a separate process that's counting down 1 second, at which point, after 1 second, it's going to turn on my little red indicator LED, it's going to play a high-pitched tone, and then 200 milliseconds later, it'll turn off that LED. So watch this. So I find that to be really fantastic. It solves a problem that you run into a lot when you try to do slightly sophisticated things with timing, and that is the run in parallel block inside of MakeCode. And so that is your MakeCode Minute.
All right, time travel time. Look around the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers, and more. This week in time travel, let's kick it off with our jobs board. Jobs.adafruit.com is going to revitalize the economy and more. All you have to do is post your skills, or if you're an employer looking for someone, here's a couple jobs. These are people who are looking to pay you. Learning coach, science and engineering. This is in Wichita Falls, Texas. It's a contract position, probably remote. And here's a paid job. Create a basic countdown timer with separate controls and 3 displays. This is from Envision Poker in Australia. So those are a couple jobs.
You know what pays really good? All those gambling electronics places.
Now,
they're swimming in money.
Next up in the time travel news. Last week we talked about the GSA. No one knew about this government agency for a really long time until it was one of the things that stops the incumbent, the next president coming in from getting like security briefs and being able to do things like have a website with .gov, getting office space and all this stuff. And for us, as a member of the National Association of Manufacturers, we were pleased to see the National Association of Manufacturers, they signed a letter and they said, manufacturers called the GSA to sign a letter of ascertainment. And not a lot of people even knew what ascertainment was. So basically, it's acknowledging that, yeah, a bunch of people voted, and looks like
this is the most likely outcome.
Likely it's Biden-Harris. And please start giving them the resources they need and information so there can be a seamless, smooth transition of power. And it's 3 weeks late. And there could be lots of debate about it, but it happened. So I want to shout out to the National Association of Manufacturers for 2 things. 1, getting that done, helping out with that. And 2, they wrote a great article about Adafruit not too long ago.
Yeah.
They do stories.
And we're part, we're members.
They do stories about U.S. manufacturing companies. This is not partisan. There's not Republican manufacturing companies, Democratic manufacturing companies. There's manufacturing companies. And when we joined...
My compressors die just like people who live in Kansas or California, Oregon. So we all have to deal with the same bullshit.
So as a manufacturer and as an employer of 100 plus people, I'll say this. Finally, there's so many things that have to happen in government, and it takes forever. And you really need a seamless. I think Dr. Fauci said it. You want it like a relay race where you don't want to start from zero. You want to be running at the same time when you're passing the relay. And yeah, there's going to be a bunch of stuff in the news, and a bunch of people are going to not like each other. There's going to be a bunch of things in court. But I think this is the smart thing to do, and it finally happened. So anyways, National Association of Manufacturers, they lended their voice. Did it matter? Who knows? Probably not, but it was one voice of many. We posted it up, and we tried to get the word out as well. Next up, big news. We all said adios to Radio Shack a couple years ago.
For the 3rd time. Radio
Shack has come in and out of bankruptcy a few times. LADYADA interviewed the past CEO of Radio Shack on our show. We had our stuff in Radio Shack. We were a Radio Shack partner. There was rumors that we acquired Radio Shack. People made some cool logos and stuff like that. However, the big news in the maker world this week is Tai Lopez. Yeah, the guy with the Lambo and the books on the YouTubes, that's how people know him, bought Radio Shack, and he's part of a company that bought a few retail brands, including Dress Bar, Pier 1, Models, Linen and Things, Franklin Mint, Farmer's Cart, Mentor Box, and Book People. So you can check out Tai Lopez on Twitter, talks about some of the Radio Shack stuff. I got introduced to the new Radio Shack people over email, and I messaged Tai, and his assistant emailed me, and we're going to set up either a text interview or a live video interview with LADYADA and Tai and find out, hey, what are you doing with Radio Shack? So we'll see what happens with Radio Shack. If it's an online store only, which they said they're going to do, they're probably going to stock maker stuff again. So what I'm saying right now is give them a chance.
Give them a chance, but if you sell them stuff, make sure you get paid first.
Always get paid first from companies that have gone bankrupt 5 times. Give them a chance, because Radio Shack is a brand that's out there. A lot of people are familiar with it. Could there be a rebrand? Yes. Could there be the stores coming back? Maybe. Is it going to be an online retailer that sells all sorts of electronic stuff? Probably, because this has happened before. But before everyone, decides what they think about it, just give them a chance. And so we're going to interview them. We're going to ask some good questions. We'll ask our community for questions to ask, and we'll see.
And we'll see you here in exactly 1 year with whatever happens next.
Yeah. Python on hardware time.
Okay.
It is CircuitPython.
That's right.
It's Python on hardware. We have a cornucopia of things.
Oh, look. It's Blinka with gourds.
That's right. So we're still in CircuitPython 6 land. We released it.
6.1 is out and we're
here.
just doing a lot of bug fixes and tweaks. ESP32S2 is still happening, but 6 overall is really stable. Other than the ESP32S2, which is this new processor, but other than that, a lot of people are trying it out. It's now the stable release, so please use it for your projects. If you find bugs, please open up an issue and just give us reproducible code and as much info as possible. We've been squishing bugs every day.
And our Python on hardware roundup, as Lydia said, we are in 6.1 beta. You can check out the latest things that are in the beta, or you can just stick around and hang out with the stable 6.0. We closed 2,000 open issues. Hooray!
No, pull requests.
Sorry, pull requests.
Which is amazing. It's actually code chunks
That's right.
being submitted, and we have like over 30 open, which is a lot, and it's good. We're getting people contributing fixes, documentation updates, bug fixes or feature fixes. Really great stuff coming in from the community. I think ESP32 especially has started to accelerate that a little bit.
Yeah, the ESP32S2, the folks that are going to use it, they're going to not want to reinvent the wheel, and CircuitPython out of the box does a lot. MagTech projects, you can check out some of the things that we're doing. This is really neat. This is a conference badge.
Yeah.
You can get this on GitHub right now.
What's nice is it doesn't have to have battery. You can just
once you program it, it's over, and then you just keep it on your badge all day.
This is a project. Todd Bott's been doing a lot of great CircuitPython project. This is a what day is it display. That's I like the different font action going on here. I like how Saturday is kind of like fun, and Sunday is kind of like heavy. And
we have our quote displayer. Then we have the MagTag version of the weather station monitor. There's a CircuitPy UI on the new MagTag.
Like buttons and
we
stuff.
have another quarantine clock. It's Monday noonish.
Yeah.
We have Scott's deep dive
with
from
CatCam
last week, and then of course we have other things. One of the things that came out that was kind of interesting is the ESP32C3 RISC-V microcontroller.
Yeah,
was
moving
leaked.
from Tensor. Well, it's not really. Kind of leaked, but also kind of.
We all kind of knew about it.
Well, they've had a RISC-V processor inside the ESP32S2 and family for a little bit as a coprocessor. But moving from Tensilica to RISC-V makes a lot of sense. It doesn't really matter for the ESP32 what the core processor is, because it's kind of like a Wi-Fi peripheral device with the core just kind of there to keep things going. So moving to RISC-V could make a really a big impact in pricing, just because you don't have to license it, and also if you want to do machine learning built in, there's like machine learning add-ons for RISC-V that I've seen, so maybe that's going to be a little easier to integrate.
If you want to have a Zoom Microsoft Teams mute button using CircuitPython, you can use this, specifically an Adafruit QT using CircuitPython. We have a couple other examples of Feather S2 projects, a DIY open source high fidelity preamp using CircuitPython. Here is a Nano ESP32S2. You can install CircuitPython on a Raspberry Pi.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, you can do that.
That's cute.
The folks from
Electronic
Cats, they have a live cat show.
They're super cool.
Yeah.
I love them.
They're our favorite open source hardware company at the moment.
Yeah.
Then this was kind of cool. There was this really weird project I thought was cool. It was QuickPython. It was an interactive coding environment, and it like boots up. Is this the one?
I saw that this was a Raspberry Pi thing. When I sent this to Anne, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've seen.
Yeah, it was really neat.
It's like you boot up your Pi directly into like a Python editing environment, and it's kind of like when you had a Commodore 64 and you just booted into
sorry, that's Snakeware.
Snakeware.
Sorry, that's the other one.
What's QuickPython?
QuickPython was the interactive coding environment where you just use Python to code. Snakeware is the Linux distro.
This is Snakeware, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. There's so much going on with Python right now. So that's really neat because it's like very Commodore 64-ish.
Yeah.
Anyways, also we'll be having these on our site soon.
This is also RISC-V. Very interesting. Hi-5. It's
Yeah.
like a microbit-y-ish device. Probably work with all of our accessories and
Yeah,
stuff.
BBC Doctor Who, a Hi-5 Inventor coding kit. We'll have those in our store. I thought this was a neat article about the origin of the MIT license. We use it. So
Yeah.
you can check it out at IEEE. And then we have a smattering of other news that goes around all things Python, all things hardware, and Kickstarter.
There's a new code bug.
That, yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. It has these like pluggable pieces, a little bit like STEMMA QT, but like it's like mechanical.
Yep, check up our guide on
A lot of
which board to
libraries.
choose. We have over 281 libraries, and you can see what our team is up to. Current events, events that are coming up, some help wanted, and more. That is all the Python on Hardware news. You can get that at adafruitdaily.com and sign up for the Python on Hardware newsletter. And that's Python on Hardware this week.
Yes.
All right, LadyAda, we're an open source hardware company.
It's true.
I know we are for sure because we have 2,354 guides. What's on the big board this week?
Okay, one of them is about open source hardware, so it's even better. Starting from the bottom right, we've got the Which CircuitPython board is right for you. Kattni and Carter wrote this up. It's a tour of all the different boards that are used for CircuitPython and what we recommend for each use. Whether you want to do Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you want something that can be used with an Arduino Shield or is Feather compatible. It's all in there, so check it out. We'll be updating it also, but it's a great introduction if you're like, I don't know what to start with. This will tell you what to start with. Noe and Pedro made a cute 3D printed stand for the mag tag and also an enclosure. Aaron has the Matrix Portal money sensing tip jar, which is neat. It uses a distance sensor to detect when somebody puts money through the slot. And when it does, it displays a cute animation telling them thank you. So maybe they'll tip more. And again, Dylan did a quick write-up just trying out Visual Studio Code for the Raspberry Pi. So you can run VS Code on the Pi now, which is awesome. Just have to make sure you install the right version. And he has just a couple of tips on that. But then you can be coding in a professional IDE. Not that you can't write great code in Thonny or Moo, but it's always great to have something that's like very powerful, like the Raspberry Pi, the Visual Studio. That's also used in industry too, so you can get industry practice. Dylan also wrote a quick script on how to submit open source projects to OSHWA using their JSON API. He has example code and what you should look for. So if you'd like to automate adding boards to OSHWA, so you don't have to use their web form, this API will do the job. John Park wrote a quick mag tag slideshow guide. This is a common thing people want to do. You want to display different images, maybe have it beep when you display a new image or light up the NeoPixel, so it shows you all the examples. This is a great pairing with last week's guide, which is video, which is on dithering images to make them look really good on e-ink displays. Dylan also finished up, he's like wrote a lot of guides this week, or he finished a lot of guides this week. A really detailed guide on how to contribute to Adafruit Arduino libraries with GitHub. We have a lot of continuous integration in our Arduino libraries. So there's a couple things to watch out for where it's not like how it used to be where you could just commit code and submit it and we'd sort of trust you and just add it on. We now do linting with Clang format, and we also do compilation testing to make sure that your addition didn't break something. Really good stuff, but just means that if you're not used to submitting pull requests that go through CI, this is how you can fix up CI issues as they come up. And Phil B. wrote up a port of the Next Bus project he did so long ago, but this time it's for the mag tag. It's written in Python. It lets you know when the next bus is for a couple different routes. It can display up to 4 routes. On the mag tag, it updates once a minute, and you can just have it just hanging out on your desk and letting you know when the next bus is, so you don't run for the bus and miss it, and you're not waiting outside in the cold.
All right, more guides ahead. Let's do some in New York City factory footage. of a speed up of some boards that
Yeah,
running,
we
some
sometimes
mag
like
tags.
to inspect the boards, make sure they're in good shape before they go into the oven.
That's right.
Still faster than hand soldering them for sure.
And this was just a few days ago. 61 more days until the inauguration.
That's cool.
We have a few of those signs counting down all sorts of things, including the McRib return.
Yep.
And then it wouldn't be New York City factory footage without.
Oh wow, they're starting to pour.
Yeah, this is the Disney headquarters. They're building across the street from Adafruit
Okay, my God.
with all that gold from the Disney Plus accounts you'll have.
Yeah.
And, of course, long days mean beautiful sunsets
That is a nice sunset.
here in New York.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
All right, 3D printing.
Gorgeous.
We have two things we're going to do this week that are
Yep.
a little different.
Okay,
So
I'm ready for it.
The one thing that's going to be a little different is instead of a 3D printing video, we're going to show the MagTag video because Noah and Pedro are artistes and they make beautiful. I wouldn't even call them videos. They're informational and they happen to have electronics and they're shot one. Anyways, so we have this little vignette, I guess, of MagTag, and then we're going to play a speed up.
Okay.
Hey, what's up folks? In this video, we're taking a look at the Adafruit MagTag. This is an all-in-one dev board with an e-ink display and Wi-Fi, so it's really great for making IoT projects. It's got a 2.9-inch display with an ESP32S2, NeoPixels, STEMMA QT ports, and lots of other awesome features. With the built-in accelerometer, you can detect the orientation of the display and make motion-based projects. There's 4 user buttons that can be used to trigger things like these side-lit NeoPixels. The MagTag Learn Guide has a full list of features, the pinouts, and everything you need to get started. Be sure to follow the step-by-step instructions on how to get into the bootloader mode so you can flash new firmware. MagTag has support for the latest version of CircuitPython so you can use all of the libraries from Adafruit. Check out the example demo code to get started with the MagTag library for CircuitPython. There's lots of development in the works, so be sure to check out the Learn system for new projects. The PCB has built-in standoffs so you can easily secure it or use these magnetic feet and stick it to the fridge. We hope you're inspired to check out the Adafruit MagTag and start using CircuitPython to power your projects. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos from Adafruit.
Thank you, Noah and Pedro. And 3D Hangouts returns next week. All right, it's time for DigiKey plus Adafruit present.
Eye on MPI.
This week, it's Little Fuse.
Yes, they make little fuses, but they also recently acquired US Sensor, and so they have a bunch of sensors as well. They have a bunch of other electronics as well, but nice, cute logo. I like the little like wave in the middle.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
an L, and it's there's some signal going through.
Yeah, maybe they're saying that they stop these signals. I don't know.
Could be.
Okay, so this week's NPI is the PPG-1 XXX series of little RTD sensors. These are so small. These are small chunks of platinum bonded onto the back of a ceramic material to give them strength, and then there's two little leads that you plug into a circuit. You measure the resistance and you know the temperature. And last week when I asked Phil, what should I do for next week's NPI, this week's, you said, well, could you do like some sort of turkey theme? And so I was like, okay, like a turkey theme. Well, this is
That's
a turkey. This is some cool photos I found on Flickr that were public domain. Thanks for all those cool photos. This is a beautiful, beautiful turkey.
Yeah. How it started, how it's going.
How it's going. Okay, so when you're making a turkey, you know, it's important to make sure that first off, you got to defrost it if you got a frozen turkey. And then you have to cook it all the way through. Like, raw turkey is really gross. And overcooked turkey isn't so great either. So you want to get it to like exactly 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And to do that, you've got this like thermometer here, right? It's got a little plug-in thermometer. But how could we engineer, because we're electrical engineers, how can we make an electrical engineering version of this thermometer so we can monitor our turkey? Maybe we would have it even like, you know, the temperature sensor would be in the oven and it would like SMS us when it's time to get the turkey because it's like in there for 4 or 5 hours. Okay, so here's a couple options. So the simplest way you can make a temperature sensor, and temperature sensors are so common for engineers to add, whether it's making a turkey monitor or you have a thermal system that you want to monitor, like you want to make sure your processor isn't getting too hot, for example, or maybe you want to have a little bit of heating in your circuit, but not too much. Or maybe you have to compensate or derate something due to temperature. You know, your electronics or your amplifier may not work the same at high versus low temperatures, or, you know, I'm working with e-ink displays. You need to know the temperature because they act differently at different temperatures. So the easiest way to measure temperature, the cheapest, is you just use a diode. You put a constant current through it, you measure the voltage across it, and if you remember your diode equation, you might not remember this, but you definitely remember that VT equals KT over Q, which is like the standard, you know, temperature, constant voltage equation. And you can basically, you know, diodes work differently at different temperatures, but you can use that to kind of reverse solve for the temperature because everything else here is a constant. If you have the temperature is a constant and you know what like the voltage is, you can measure it over different temperatures, so you can see the differential. So this is a diode equation. So this works quite well, but it's not very precise. So there's ways to improve it. You can use a silicon band gap temperature sensor, which is actually basically two diodes, and you're measuring the difference, you know, the ratio between the two, and you can do that. And you also basically solve for this KT over Q. You solve for the T, you get the temperature. And actually, this is used in a lot of sensors. This is the most common sensor you're going to see in an embedded, like a microcontroller or a sensor. Here's the analog design for it. It's just basically, you basically get rid of this common mode error because you have two transistors that are fabricated on the same substrate. And then you get the output. And then this is, you know, whenever you buy like a silicon temperature sensor, like not silicon material, but like silicon is in it's integrated circuitry, like this, you know, one wire temperature sensor is very common. And these work quite well, but they top out, right? They're pretty precise. You can get like easily 0.1% precision out of them and accuracy, but they top out at like 125 degrees C, which is, you know, hotter than you want your turkey to be, but it's not as hot as your oven can get, because your oven, now I have to do the conversion between Fahrenheit and Celsius, which I wrote down. Right, so inside of an oven, it could be 450 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 230 C, which is twice as high as what your circuitry might want. And so you don't want the risk of your sensor getting damaged because it's exposed to the high heat in the oven. And so, okay, what do you do when you have to measure something high temperature, like a high range? Low range, those silicon diode style ones are great. For high temperature ranges, you'll want to go with something like a thermocouple. Classic. This is like an ancient technology. You take some, alumel, you take some other metals, and you bond them together. And, the output of there's a microvoltage difference with temperature. And these go up to like massive ranges. You do need to have a little amplifier driver. So here we see, I have a circuit driver that you plug the thermocouple into, and then does the amplification for you, converting that microvoltage level into a higher voltage, and then does the analog digital conversion, and then you can convert that into temperature. What's nice about thermocouples, as you can see here, they're happy to go up to 500, 1000 degrees C easily, right? The common ones are type K, but type J are also quite popular, and these go up to 1500, at least 1000 degrees C. So these are quite common. Actually, a lot of times when you get oven thermometers, you'll see them have a thermocouple. But there's one thing that's not so great about thermocouples, is that they have error. They have quite a bit of error in them. They're not as accurate or precise as we might want. If we want to get to 0.1% or better, or less than 1%, you're always going to have about like a couple degree offsets with thermocouples. And so when you need to have higher precision, that's when you would go to an RTD. So, you need low accuracy, low voltage range. Diodes are great. You want high temperature range, but somewhat lower accuracy. Thermocouples are great. But if you want both, you want the best of both worlds, because you want the stuffing and the cranberry sauce, you want to go with an RTD. And these are little chunks of platinum, and they come in different resistance ohms at 0 degrees C, so it's like freezing. So they're easy to calibrate because you can use ice water baths to calibrate, to make sure. You get 100, 500, or 1000 ohms. And the resistance change for these is like almost totally linear, which is really wonderful. And you're just measuring the resistance. So you don't need, you want to have like a high precision circuit, but you're not dealing with microvolts here. You're dealing with a couple ohms, which is a lot easier to deal with than these noisy microvolts that might be affected by your local environment. For these, you still do want to have some sort of amplification circuit, some op amp. You'll need a constant current source, but that's a lot, not too hard. There's built-in all-in-one drivers, and we have a driver here that can handle RTDs quite easily. And this is great because now you can measure your turkey in your oven at high temperatures, high precision. And this sensor, I'll show it. Let's show the demo now, and then we'll go.
Was this the demo?
No, that's the turkey.
All right.
Okay, so let me focus lock. This doesn't freak out on you. So this is actually the sensor. It's so small. It's meant to go into pretty much any device.
Let me see if I can zoom in.
You may need, well, I don't want to zoom too much because I need to keep this this number visible.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just my pocket multimeter. It's not it's not the best way of measuring this resistance, but it does a good enough job. Okay, sorry, this is getting a little loose. Okay, so the resistance right now is about like 1.1K. This is a 1K RTD, and then when I put my finger on it, you can see the temperature is going up. And if I'm like really gross and I put it on my tongue,
yeah,
warm. Not quite turkey warm, but warm. And when I blow on it, you can see the number goes down. So it's cooling off. So it's nice that you can see that even a couple degree change will, the ohms, if it's at 1 kilo ohm, then it's like even a couple ohms, it'll start move quite, it's very fast, very responsive. And it's quite easy to measure that change. So you can get, I think there's 0.06% accurate RTDs, and these are like a couple dollars. So these are kind of starting to replace thermocouples in a lot of places. And again, they're much smaller. They're these really tiny little things, and it's going to be a lot smaller and easier to integrate into an existing circuit than a thermocouple. So you can get these. I picked this one. This is the PT100 0.06 ohm radial sensor, but they have a couple different in the family. There's the 500 and the 1000 as well. there's tons of app notes online on how to convert these into the resistances into the exact temperature if you want to. You can do algorithmically, or you can use a table if you want better accuracy. They're not too expensive and they're really small. So if you have a small, high accuracy, high precision, and wide temperature range sensing need, will be what I would recommend.
All right, and it's available on DigiKey. The part number is 18PPT101JA and D, or you can just go to the short URL digikey.com/short/ZV7523. And that's this week's Eye on Gobble Gobble.
Eye on NPI.
Okay, we're going to swing right into new products.
Yes. Gobble, gobble, gobble. New, new, new. Gobble, gobble, gobble. New, new, new.
All right, let's...
It's like the one day of the year I can say gobble, gobble whenever I want.
Yeah, you say it all year long, but it's the only time you do it live on video.
I know, it's true.
All right, first up.
First up, we've got a new version of this clip for Clue or Microbit. This is a great addition to Microbit products. If you want to create something that a Microbit plugs into, this is a surface mount component, so it's
Might work with that Sci-5 board too.
It would work with anything that's compatible. What's really nice is if you go back one.
You want to go there?
No, forward. Yeah. You see it has little notches that tells you which way to plug it in, because it only has contacts on one side, just like the Clue or the Microbit. And what's nice about this one, it's I tried to show it. So you see how like the Microbit or the Clue plugs in, and then there's the contacts on the very right. This is sunken. It's kind of like a sunken type PCB holder. So you have a cutout in the PCB, and this sinks into the PCB so that the PCB and the Clue or Microbit are coplanar, right? They're in line with each other, and this is different than other connectors where like it would float above. This is good if you want it to like slide into a bigger shape and like be flat in that shape, you know what I mean? Like less bulky.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a less bulky. I mean, it's got some bulk, but it's more evenly distributed around the PCB. So it's like slimline.
Next up.
Okay.
Feather takes flight on this keyboard Featherwing.
This is a keyboard Featherwing from Solder Party. It's a party. Nice animation from
Ain't no party like a
Jelly.
solder party.
Yeah. So this has a BBK, which is like a BlackBerry compatible keyboard. It's got 4 buttons, and it's got a 2.6-inch touch TFT. I think it's 320 by 240. I believe it's an ILI 9341, and so it's kind of compatible with like every known. Maybe it's an ST series.
I'll go to the other end.
But it's compatible with like every.
This is plastic film, just
Yeah,
by the way.
I
Lady
protect
Ada
it.
loves to keep these on forever.
Yes.
So I always pull these off.
Don't.
I'm not, but that's what that's.
Yeah. This actually. Well, I mean, this was removed before, so I can remove it again. There you go.
All right.
Does that make you happy?
Well, I mean, like, what are we waiting for? The Queen to visit? I
Yes.
mean, like, take the protector off the screen.
Okay. Well, it's off.
Free those screens.
So you can type here on the keyboard, and it's like kind of like you're typing on like.
Yeah.
Well, I can't type right, but it's like you're typing on a BlackBerry. It's kind of fun. It's very cute, and it's even backlit. This is kind of like a neat effect. So you can even use it at night, and you can plug in like any feather. It tells you the pinouts on the back. It doesn't use a lot of pins.
Which one do you like to use with this?
This is a Feather M4, which is kind of like my go-to, my favorite feather. It's got an on-off switch. It's got a resistive screen and a screen controller. It's got a STEMMA QT or quick connector. So this is like a lovely little accessory. Like, this is so much fun. You can make little like handheld portables. We have a couple in stock. I know these are in high demand. There's a NeoPixel as well. You can sort of see it blinking a little bit. But it's a fun accessory, and you can like make little portables. This would go great with CircuitPython because, of course, it's got the REPL on the screen, and you can like run programs with it.
All right. Next up.
Put this back on. Keep it safe. Yes.
Yeah. All right. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I put this in the show, and I had to take a double take on this because I'm like, oh, this is really useful.
Yeah, this is useful. So
Yeah.
this is a PoE splitter. We've actually had PoE splitters before, but this one is a Type
different.
C.
And let me tell you why I thought it was useful. And this was before the other photos came in, because I'm like, oh, this would be really good for a Raspberry Pi
400.
400
which we
because
have, like,
you
a few
power
in
it with
stock. Yes.
USB-C and it has Ethernet. By the way, just a little
We have
side
like
note.
5 in stock.
If you go to adafruit.com/Raspberry Pi 400,
If you're watching this live.
there's 49 left.
Yeah.
So anyways, we didn't, not everyone got the notifications because we don't have thousands of these.
Yeah.
But you can do it right now. The only thing is there's no discounts on these. So anyways,
Correct.
but this is really useful for this.
Yeah, so you plug it in. This is perfect for Raspberry Pi 4s or Pi 400s. You will need to have a PoE router. So here I've got a TP-Link. This is actually quite inexpensive. I think this router was like $50. And you get a big honkin' power supply, and then it provides power to the Pi 400, the Pi 4, over USB-C, and it also gives you 100 megabit Ethernet. It's not gigabit. If people really demand the gigabit, I can get the gigabit, but it's a lot more expensive. And honestly, a lot of people don't really need the gigabit. They're happy with 100 megabit, so I thought this would be a good option. So yeah, you want to have a Pi 4 also is a great pick. I'll say it's not a good pick for earlier Raspberry Pis because it doesn't have a Type-C connector. We have a different PoE splitter for those. Also feathers. Some feathers have USB Type-C. You would use that with this. But most still have micro B because they're older.
Anything with Ethernet that powers by USB-C is perfect for this. This is why these two things are great.
And you don't need like a hat. You don't need like a special converter. It's a plug and go. It's super simple.
It's really cool.
All in one.
That's useful.
Very useful.
Okay, well, next up, let's move right along to the 3-color ink display.
Yes, so this is, it looks like, hey, don't you already have this in stock? So we had a very similar feather wing in stock that was, I think, like it was like 200 by 100 pixel display. It was like less pixels, basically. And use a different screen, and that screen got discontinued, and so we kind of started a new PID, and this is a higher definition screen, so it's 250 by 122 pixels, so you can fit more text, more graphics on it. It's tricolor, so you get black pixels and red pixels, but otherwise it's basically the same as the other feather wings we have that are 2.13 inch displays. If you are upgrading from the previous version, you will have to recompile the code with the new chip definition. This is an SSD 1680, non-IL0373. I really wish that this wasn't part of the deal with e-ink displays, but I'm afraid that they're constantly being revised and old chips are getting discontinued.
Yeah. So let's show this off.
It's a party. Anyways, so this is also my favorite Feather M4 plugged in, and I have an image on the SD card here. Oh, whoa. That made it unhappy. Okay. So you'll notice that tricolor e-inks take a while to display the image.
Look, screen protector again.
Shh,
Look, I'm just saying.
Stop
I'm
touching
saying.
it.
I'm just saying, this is my life because we have all these beautiful screens, but they're underneath these protectors. I understand. I understand the reason.
You can't tell.
I know, but I'm just saying because once in a while.
If I had my finger over it, you would.
Well,
know.
you don't see the chat comments, and sometimes people are like, "Hey, what's that like red tab?" It's like, no, it's the screen protector.
Fine, I will always mention.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just saying. That's what it is.
I want a divorce. Okay, so this is.
It's like a doily for electronics.
You know, like some grandparents always had like the plastic cover.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's me.
And like, but who?
That's me.
But like, what are you saving the couch for? Like, when are you gonna?
You want it to look good.
But when will you one day say, okay, we don't need to have the plastic on the couch anymore?
When the good guest visits.
Okay, see, all right, that's what I thought. Anyways, what are we doing?
All right, hold on.
We're doing an electronic show, I think.
I keep messing with this. Okay, so sorry. So I was shooting the other demo. That's why I was flipping out. Okay, so you'll notice it takes 13 seconds or so, 15 seconds to display, but we have a really nice guide that shows how to convert. This is like a color image that we converted. It's me holding Blinka, and I had pink hair at the time. And what's nice is, of course, it's e-ink, so you can remove the power. One thing I did notice is after a couple of seconds, the red lightens a little bit. It becomes like a slightly lighter red. If power is kept, it doesn't seem to do that. I don't know. It's one of the effects of this screen, but it's still definitely red. The black doesn't dim. And if you did the right, you can actually have like pretty good image resolution for displays that have spot color on them. We have Arduino code for it. I think CircuitPython, we have a driver for the SSD 1680 as well. So you can use it with any SSD 1680 e-ink display driver.
Includes free screen protector.
That's right.
Okay.
I won't remove it.
Well, the star of the show tonight, besides you, Lady Ada, and our team and our community and our customers, is this.
This is the SGP40, which is the next generation of gas sensors from Sensirion. This was actually an NPI, which is why people might be like, this sounds familiar. So what this does is it has a built-in little piece of gas sensing element and inside, and a little like protector top, and it heats up the piece of silicon that's doped, and it can detect when there's volatile organic compounds. So this would be good for like detecting rotting fruit, for example, or alcohols in the air, or if you're laser cutting a material that emits it off gases. This is what it would be good for. It's not good for particulate sensing. That's a PM 2.5 sensor. We stock those too. Different sensor. This is for gas compounds. So the SGP40 is I2C. It's very similar to the SGP30. However, one thing I do want to note is that this is being marketed by Sensirion as a more precise, better quality sensor. However, it does not spit out the effective CO2 or volatile organic compound index directly from the sensor. It gives you a raw value, and then you have to use their sensor processing library code, which we've ported over to Arduino. It wasn't too bad. It's in C. And then it will give you an index value from 0 to 500 based on how much organic gas is it detecting in the area. So it's kind of giving you like a qualitative value, not a quantitative value. One nice thing that's about the sensor is that if you pair it with a a humidity sensor, or a temperature sensor, or both, that's even better, you can get better results because humidity and temperature does affect gas sensors. And so you want to sort of like, if you give it the humidity and temperature, ambient temperature and humidity, it'll use that to kind of calibrate the reading out and give you a more normalized reading, because it can't measure the temperature on its own because inside there's a heater. So it can't know what the temperature really is. You need an external sensor to do that.
All right, and that is garage.
Gobble, 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 gobble. Gobble, 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 gobble.
All right, we have 3 short videos of some upcoming stuff. We'll do that on Top Secret. But before we do that, if you have questions, go over to adafruit.it/discord.
Put them in now.
Join all 25,000 of us. We will get to the questions right after we do Top Secret. Okay, LADYADA, what is this?
Hey, I'm working on making new demos for the MagTag, our 2.9-inch e-ink display. And one of the first projects I like to build is a clock. So on this really beautiful e-paper display, you can have really gorgeous fonts in CircuitPython. And here it's showing the time in 24-hour mode. And because it's battery powered, it'll actually refresh the time in just a few seconds. And then behind it is all the code. I'm writing this all in CircuitPython. It's only about 42 lines of code, which is pretty sweet. You can pick any font you like. Thank you for telling me it's now 2110. And here's the code. We connect to the network to get the time over Wi-Fi. This is the font I'm using. And then once an hour, I resynchronize the time online. Otherwise, I just display the time in either 12 or 24-hour mode. That's it. MagTag.
Okay, LADYADA, what is this?
Hey, I'm writing more demos for the MagTag, our 2.9-inch e-ink display with the ESP32S2. It's Wi-Fi, which means it can do cheer lights. So when I tweet at cheer lights, my favorite color is blue. What happens is now the Wi-Fi module here is going to connect to the ThingSpeak IoT channel, where the cheer lights data is like saved and updated. And then the IoT channel, you see it read that I tweeted at it asking for blue. And then let's see, let's do at cheer lights red. And in a few seconds, this will get that new update. It checks only every 5 seconds. I just don't want to update the screen too often in case like people are really blasting it.
You flipped it to red.
Yay! So very cheery, a great holiday project. Hey, I've got this Wii nunchuck here. This is kind of an old school controller for Wii's that has accelerometer and joystick and some buttons. And you see here, I've got it plotting motion on the Arduino plotter. So I'm testing out some new hardware. It's kind of based on old hardware, but it's a little Stemma QT adapter. And the adapter actually just has a PCB that the Wii chuck plugs into. It's a cute little hack. It just slides into the connector. And then this is level shifted I2C, and that just goes into a Metro Mini. But we also have CircuitPython and Python code available. So you can take out those old Wii nunchucks and use them to control, say, your robotics.
All right, and now it's top secret. So
Time for questions.
let's do some questions. First up, I did want to mention that adafruit.com/Raspberry Pi 400, which it made a small appearance here. You can see it there, the Raspberry Pi computer. We do have 37 left. We got a small shipment,
Yes.
and they're in the store, and they'll be gone in a few minutes. So if you want to go over there and get them, you can. I linked up in the chat as well. Okay. Let's answer some questions.
Okay.
Will you please put a 4-pin fan header on that new I2C fan controller you were showing on Sunday's show?
I can't, because the power to a fan is going to be separate than the power to the chip, because it's usually a 12-volt fan. So there's no easy way to plug it in without people, I think, accidentally putting 12 volts into their circuit and destroying it, which I want to avoid. So we only bring out the tachometer and fan pin, and you're expected to power it separately.
Okay. So for the clock video that we showed,
Yeah.
how long does the battery last? And I'll add a caveat. We also have Deep Sleep that we're releasing soon, so maybe
On Deep
maybe
Sleep
answer in
mode-
2 ways.
Yeah, well, right now it will last for like a couple days, like 2 days, I think, on the battery. But with deep sleep mode, which we're working on, it'll probably last about a month.
A month. That's a long time.
Yeah.
All right. This one came in from another one. What type of engineer are you?
I'm an
Okay.
electrical engineer.
That's right. So you deal with electricals.
Electricals. I engineer them.
Okay. With the RPI, do you have any of the 4th edition beginner's book that you sell separately?
Whatever we have in stock is what we've got. I think that it comes in a bundle, and it could be a new version that was updated just for the Pi 400, in which case we don't have it.
So this is the 3rd edition according to the photo?
Yeah.
So it's whatever, yeah.
It's whatever.
It's whatever they sent along.
Yeah.
Okay, there's only 37. Okay. What type of activities or other ideas do you have to help employees socialization with so many remote locations, let alone lockdown now? Oh, I can help you out with that. Here is some tips. So one of the things that's hard to do is start a weekly meeting. If you've always had them, it's easy. So one thing we always did was State of the Fruit. And we did State of the Fruit every single Friday, no matter what, at 5:30 we do it. And sometimes people can't attend. That's okay. We'd either have, we always have notes, and we've experimented with videos and having people beam in and all that. But what we did is, much like our philosophy with other things, we turned it into a publishing calendar. So State of the Fruit every single week. We also do things where there's consistent meetings every single week. One of the things we don't like to do is hold meetings that aren't normally scheduled. So if you know that there's a meeting, same time, same day, every single week, it's a time that works for everyone on the team, that means that there's a consistent rhythm to getting a lot of stuff done. And people, they send questions in advance. They have things that they want to talk about. We also carve out time. In the beginning, we'll have like some general stuff. We'll go over some things at the end, kind of free form. And especially now, because the question was, what do you do with remote folks, is you try to come up with some activities that have something to do with the values they have, not necessarily just the day-to-day business.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we'll talk about some current news that's going on in our world. A good example, when the DMCA happened to the YouTube download thing.
Yeah.
So there's a tool that a lot of people use to download their own videos off YouTube. And GitHub got these DMCAs, and they got to take it down.
Yeah.
We use it for stuff because we take our own video off YouTube, and then we use it for Apple TV. And we talked about that.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things that you have to do is get to know the teams that you have and find out some of their interests. And then, a lot of us are kind of techie at Adafruit, and a lot of the people have projects that they work on, and they maybe will blog about it or they'll do a post. And it's just like kind of, it's not a surprising thing to talk about people and their interests. And it's not a surprising thing that we meet every week. So one story, and I've heard this story from lots of different people, is they're like, oh, before they came to Adafruit, they're like, oh, the company I came for is when we had like a town hall or a company meeting, someone's getting laid off. Because meetings were only used for one thing, and it was to tell people bad news.
Yeah.
And so consistency of a time and a place, and then the freedom to express yourself is, I think, one of the things that helps. Now, we've done that before the pandemic. So for us, this was just like, okay, great, we're just going to have more people in these meetings because some are on site, some are remote. And I think that's the best thing you can do. And if you've been holding off, it's never too late to start. Just say, hey, everybody, we're just going to do a weekly thing every week for half an hour. In the last 10 minutes, it's a free-for-all. We also have a companion Slack, but we do keep Slack to Adafruit company business. We are really particular about that. But what we did do is we carved off a random room, which really is, it's random. And then we have a COVID room because, especially when COVID started, what we didn't want to have happen is COVID literally, or figuratively, infect every other room. Yes, COVID sucks, but if we're going to talk about COVID and stats and like what we're doing, let's put it all in one spot. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at that, that's the spot. Separation of those things was helpful too.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see here. People are getting googly eyes, and I think this might be our only questions from me. Oh, Steve said, yeah, one picture has third edition, one has fourth. Yeah, whatever they sent along.
I think maybe the
bundle.
First prototype they sent us maybe had the third, and now they're shipping the fourth. So
yeah.
Whatever the Raspberry Pi, we haven't opened up any of the new kits. So,
yeah, it's whatever is included.
Yeah.
One thing that's a little hard on us is sometimes, so Raspberry Pis are made in a couple different places, and people are like, I want one that's made in this location or this location.
We have absolutely no control about who sends us a Raspberry Pi,
Yeah.
when or where. Believe me, we put in an order, and then
Yeah.
maybe a few months later it'll magically appear. We can't choose where it comes from.
And so, they have multiple factories that they work with. So anyways, okay. And I think... Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah, this was Mark. Thanks for detailed answer. Something we struggle with a job right now, looking for ideas to help that out. Yeah. Do the best you can. I think just consistency with communication is a good thing. Because if I know there's a meeting coming up at Friday at 5:30, I can think about what I want to say and do that whole week. And then when it's over, if I didn't get a chance to do something, I have a meeting next week.
That's right.
And we do that across the department. And what's cool is people don't have to freak out about their calendars, because if you're in a department and we have a weekly meeting, you don't have to worry about, when is it, there's a different meeting, whatever. It's very consistent. You're like, oh, Tuesdays at 2. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think people will one day study the things that we've done in Adafruit, and they'll say, oh, like it's counterintuitive, a lot of things we've done, but boy, did it work out. Like State of the Fruit was always kind of boring, because it's like a lot of things that we already knew about, but it was a good chance to get together. We'd have pizza and, beverages together. But we never had a line of communication that was different. Like it was always consistent, where if we did have to deliver news about something, or if something did come up, everyone knew. And it wasn't just like, oh, what's this meeting about? It's, well, State of the Fair. We're going to go over everything. Okay. I believe that is it. That is our show for the night. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Please continue to post up comments and more.
Post up your projects.
Post up your projects. Just a reminder, thank you so much. Thank you, Jessie May, who's in the Slack tonight.
Thanks, Jessie May.
And thank you, everyone out there, our community, our customers, all of our team. Thanks for making this year, as tough as it is, we're going to keep working hard. We're going to keep working smart. The world needs an Adafruit, and we need all of you. So let's hang out and stick to this together. So hang tight. We'll see everybody next week. We'll be posting stuff over the holiday break. We ain't doing nothing. We're staying in these walls. We'll be at Adafruit a little bit over the break, but we'll see everybody online. See you later.
Bye.
Here is your moment of Zener.